The plan addresses three issues. First, getting the virus under control so that the economy, and life in general for that matter, can safely operate more normally. Second, addressing and relieving much of the substantial hardship and uncertainty so many Americans have endured over the past year, which would have gotten even worse without the measures just enacted. This hardship has been particularly acute among Black, Latino, and Indigenous people and immigrants, and households with children also have been particularly hard hit. And third, as a follow-on benefit really, it provides substantial stimulus to an economic recovery that frankly had stalled only halfway back to full employment.
The American Rescue Plan would cut the poverty rate for children from about 14% to about 7%. In other words, the law would cut the poverty rate of children in half. This is a larger cut than what was projected for adults ages 18 to 64 or adults over age 65. And maybe it goes without saying, but poverty harms children throughout their lives. Early brain development is disrupted, leading to slower and stunted growth. Children who grow up in poverty perform worse in school, are less likely to graduate from high school and attend college. They get worse jobs, their health is worse, they live shorter lives. All of these things are bad for the children affected, but they're also bad for society. Prior to the pandemic, child poverty was about 11%, so it has increased during this pandemic. But the American Rescue Plan would drop the poverty rate for children well below pre-pandemic levels.
And finally, one of the biggest components, which I helped to spearhead through the Oversight and Reform Committee, where it has jurisdiction over this issue, is state and local aid. For one whole year, I've been fighting for this aid, and unfortunately, my pleas with regard to this type of aid fell on deaf ears in the Trump administration. Thankfully, Joe Biden has thought better of this issue, and so I and others have made tremendous progress here. With regard to the state and local aid, it basically is necessary for a couple reasons. One, because sales tax revenues and other sources of tax revenue have declined dramatically for many states and local municipalities and jurisdictions, those particular governments are faced with one of two options: either hike taxes or cut services, or potentially do both. But none of those options are acceptable during a pandemic. However, because of our inaction until this point at the federal level, 1.4 million government workers have been laid off, many of whom are first responders necessary for fighting COVID-19.
Single mothers or single parent. In California, a living wage for a single adult with one child is $40. And knowing the fact that in the state, the minimum wage is $12, but when you have one child and you need to live without depending on government assistance, you need $40 an hour. So we may be talking about $15 an hour. It doesn't even cut half of what is needed for a single mother to live on. Our sense is a solution that's not in this bill is to pass what we call Raise the Wage Act, which passed in 2021, if it is possible. It was already passed in the House in 2019. If passed by the Senate, this will increase the minimum wage to $15 by 2027. What are the policies that can support the workers? I think, number one, we should advance a livable wage policy because too many workers still depend on public assistance. It is not dignifying for workers to work full-time and still depend on public assistance, and people are looking at them as if it is because they are lazy. But they're working full-time, but the money that they're earning is simply not enough to allow them to survive.